The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the latest in our series of product jams. Today, I have Marty Dickinson with me, author of the All-in-One Web Marketing for Dummies, and he, in turn, has brought a special guest with him today. So, Marty, how about you tell us who their special guest is that you've brought with you?
Well, I will definitely do that. But, Gary, the more that I talk to business owners, speakers, professional coaches, they always ask me about functionality of CloudNet360 and how to do things, and I answer those questions. And then we start talking, the question always comes up, well, how can I get more leads and sales? How can I get more traffic to my website? How can I get more people buying my products within the CloudNet360 system? So one of my first questions is, well, you're the expert in your industry. Have you written a book yet? A book? Well, no. I've got some product that I've made and some CDs and things like that, but I don't have a book. How do you go about writing a book? Well, I keep answering the same question. I get people introduced to Judith Briles, and I keep bringing up AuthorU as an association they should become a part of. And I thought, well, why not just have her on as a guest, and she can answer the question for everybody instead. So that's who I've brought with me, Judith Briles, and I'm going to give just a little background about Judith, and she is going to, I've seen some of her slides that she's going to be covering today, and this is like a 3-day workshop in 30 minutes. So be ready to listen fast, write fast. You're going to be taking a lot of notes, and just hopefully you all ate your Wheaties this morning, because this is going to be a lot of material in a short amount of time. So Judith Briles is an award-winning and best-selling author. She's written 33 books. I'm going to list them all for, no, I'm not going to list them all for you, just kidding. A couple of them are AuthorU, Creating and Building Your Author and Book Platforms, Show Me About Book Publishing, and I love this title. Listen to this: Snappy, Sassy, Salty, Wise Words for Authors and Publishers. And most recently, she'll be bringing this one up a little later, is called The Crowdfunding Guide for Authors and Writers. So that's coming up next month. To date, her books have been translated into 16 countries with over a million. I had to stutter there for a minute. 1 million copies sold. Now, that's not dollars sold. That's 1 million copies sold. Her books and her work has been featured in, 1,000 radio and television shows, including repeat appearances on CNN, CNBC, and Oprah even. So we all want to be on Oprah, right? Well, she's been there. Print publications include Newsweek, People, Time, the Wall Street Journal. I mean, Judith's name is out there, and it's out there in a lot of different places. So she is based in Colorado. She is the founding partner in a company called The Book Shepherd, which is a publishing, consulting, and project management firm that works with authors at all stages of their book to create, strategize, develop, publish, and do the marketing, all that stuff, and achieve success for your book. So please stay with us here. This is going to be a very action-packed 30 minutes. And welcome, Judith Briles. Take it away.
Hi, Marty, and hello, Gary. Thanks for being with me. Well, let's just jump into it. Why should we do a book? And there's a lot of reasons. First of all, it takes your expertise and runs with it. And with that, it's a shout out. It lets the world know. It positions you as the go-to person. One of my favorite sayings I have in that little book called Snappy, Sassy, Salty is that it's much easier to be the whale in the pond than the sardine in the sea. So what it does is this incorporates, brings in your branding, your kind of your who's who, puts you the positioning as the go-to. Here's the person. If we have a question about fill in the blank, this is who we want to go to. So it's a strong positioning statement for you, your product, your company. It ties in with that branding. And the media is always searching. In fact, one of the key things that's going on today, Marty, is that the media will use hashtags, that pound sign in front of your key word, a key phrase, to go and find someone that they want to feature. To whether it's on radio, TV, print. So media, having a book really does that stamp. It gets stamp of approval. And the good news is it actually grows your business. And that now, a lot of us, one of the things that happens is that they think, okay, so I'll get a book out. what most don't realize is books breed more books, and that you will see other things come on. There will be a repositioning that happening. For example, one of my key books, a breakout book, many years ago in the mid-80s, not 70s, in the mid-80s, was a book called Woman to Woman from Sabotage Support, and it dealt with behavioral and ethics and undermining, and specifically among women to women. And a lot of people were very ticked at me, including Gloria Steinem, for coming out with this book. She tried to talk me out of publishing it. That book, if we had the internet back there the way we have it now, that thing would have been all over Timbuktu. And it had huge, huge publicity, everything from the Wall Street Journal to the National Enquirer. And if, because my business has evolved, I no longer do workshops. I'm no longer in the evolution, took me into hospitals in the female-dominated workplace of nursing, that if I wanted to tap in and go back and revisit my expertise, because my work was a pioneering work in the topic, I would tap into the latest TED Talk that Monica Lewinsky did, because I actually had featured her and the Linda Tripp saga in the book. And I could have been all over the media again. I chose not to, because that's not who I am today. That's not where I want to be. I really only do publishing and books and authors and getting writers to the next, whatever that is. So it can grow a business, it can evolve a business, you can be in this evolution revolution, which can make it very exciting. So quick questions are, why publish? Is it to make money? Is it to position? Is it to get expertise? Is it to stroke my ego? Is it to get on TV? Is it to get into a bookstore? Why? Understand why. And really what's very important is to understand and clearly articulate what your topic is. And this is the downfall of most authors. I cannot ask them what their book is about and get a response back in like a one-line description that you would see describing a movie of the week. That's what you have to learn to do. And you may be able to say, my topic is about leadership. My topic is about betrayal and sabotage. My topic is about better nutrition. What is it? And then people, what you want to do when someone says, what's your topic about? Your response should elicit their response of, tell me more. I want to hear more about this. Who's your crowd? Here's the other killer. People don't know who they're writing for. Let me tell you, it's not everybody. The more you niche yourself, the more you become that whale in the pond, the bigger your audience is. I will guarantee that. Why are you creating and writing a book? Again, what brings you to the party? What are you willing to invest in time, in energy, and money? What format is for you? Are you going to go electronic? Are you going to go print? Are you going to go audio? Are you going to go all graphics? What? Is it a combination? And I will tell you, I think it's a huge mistake if you just choose to go e-format. And here's the truth be told. 70% of all book sales are printed. Understand this. That you should do is a combination of the two. And in fact, e-sales are declining. We're seeing a reversal in a lot of areas. And then you need to know who's on your team that's going to make this baby happen. Do you need a writer? Or, do you have a great idea but you just suck when it comes to writing? You need a ghost. Or can you get that first draft out and you need a content development editor in play who is going to really restructure and fix this baby up? Or are you really a pretty good writer and you just need to move into copy editing? Who's designing it? Who's going to bring it together? Do you need education, which most people do? But understand who you need on your team, including your web development. Everyone needs this is for everyone. You need a website. Who will help me? Do I need a virtual assistant? Who is going to teach me at social media? Do I need to know social media? Yes, you do. And then I think it's always.
Can I just jump in there real quick, Judith?
You bet.
Because already, as 1,000 viewers of this webinar sitting out there thinking, "Oh my gosh, she's not even 10 minutes into this, and already this sounds like so much work." How do you respond to that if somebody wants to write a book?
Get over it.
Is it worth it? I mean, of course
Absolutely.
It's work.
Well,
starting any business is work, but is it worth it?
In my opinion, it absolutely is, because it does set you apart. And let me tell you how a 16-year-old I worked with set her apart. That she came in, didn't know what she was going to write. We brainstormed. I came up with an idea, taught her how to do research. We did a study, taught her how to do interviews, and she created a book called Behind Closed Doors, For Teens, About Teens, by Teens. That book, she was not a 4.0 student. And the book was done to position herself to be different, to separate her from the crowd, to be the tipping point. When she went in for college admissions interviews, her 3.7, which is not bad, but it's not like a lot of the major players who are getting some of these coveted college spots. She was able to pull down a full 4-year ride, $45,000 a year scholarship from NYU, because she had the book. So there's so many things that you can do. Is it worth it? It goes back down to this last question. What's success look like for you? Will it help you grow your business? Will it separate you? Will it be maybe that high-end calling card that people will take and not throw away? And that goes back to who's on your publishing team, Marty, that will make this thing look like it has some clout to it, that there's some quality behind it versus a lot of the throwaway garbage that I am seeing today. So is it an overwhelm? Yeah, it can be. But is it part of your game plan to separate you so you rise above the clouds, so to speak? It's well worth it. And, you know, when you mentioned in my intro that I've sold over 1 million books, by the way, 95% of those books were never sold in a bookstore. They were sold where I was out speaking, where people wanted to take me home with them. And between 1987 and present day, I can tell you, we have the data, that with my mouth and with my words, we've created over $5 million in revenues. So
and that makes total sense, too, because, I mean, a lot of the CloudNet360 users that we have are speakers, they are professional coaches, they're business owners, and sometimes all three. And they all work together. I mean, if you're a good speaker, eventually your audience is going to say, well, where's your book? So you write your book, and eventually if you write a book, you're going to be asked to do more speaking, and eventually if you're a good enough speaker, you're going to be asked to coach. So all three of those things are, and of course you are a business owner when you do all three of those. So they all work together, I think.
Yep, you have to learn about the publishing business, which I had to do, you know, and I'm a recovered New York snob. I used to believe you only publish with New York because that's where I started. I'm recovered. And I started recovering back in 2000 when one of my clients said to me, we're really looking forward to having you come speak. Could you negotiate with your publisher a discount? I had just taken back the rights to that book. There were only 60 in existence. Surely they wouldn't want more than 60. And I said, I'd be delighted to. I'm sure I can handle this. And then they said, well, okay, we'd like 1,000 copies. Well, gulp. I had to have a discussion with the plant in the corner of my office, and we decided, by golly, we can do this. I had to catapult myself into learning about publishing because I was a kept author from New York. And once you start on this path, I'm going to tell you, you will never look back. When you start understanding the dollars and cents, and I have a slide on that, when you start understanding the dollars and cents, you're thinking, what in the hell was I thinking? It was my ego that said I needed a New York publisher. No, you don't. You need a good book. You need content. You need to know your stuff. You need to understand what marketing's about. And if you don't, you know what? You get the help to do it. It's that, you know, I'm simplifying it, Marty, but that's what my years have taught me. So let me just say this, all our listeners, whether you're speakers, trainers, consultants, coaches, fill in the blank, your books solve problems, and they provide either solutions or entertain. So your keeper here is problems make the world go around. It's your best friend, not money, problems. And you're going to solve them for people. All right, so there's a lot of seduction. There's a lot of confusion out there. People don't know which way do we go. How do we decide how to do this? And so I'm going to give you some very fast and furious publishing tips as we go along. Think of this as a business, and it's building a business versus playing around with a hobby, gazing in your belly button. Are you a wannabe? Okay, so, and I tell people who come in that I consult with, that come in, that if you're not willing to put the time and the energy into making this go, I'm the wrong fit for you. I'm really the wrong fit, because I will kick your butt to move you along. And if you're, if you don't want to have your butt kicked, and if you're happy with just selling 100 copies of your self-published book, you go for it. And I'll support you and I'll cheer for you, but I won't hang out with you because you become energy sucks. And Marty knows I'm really blunt. I need to put it together. So.
Oh, that's how you get things done, though, in this world. You have to be blunt. There's no time for anything else.
I know, Marty. I'm known as a blunt, butt-kicking, but benevolent.
But in a very nice way.
Yeah, I love to play. All right, so what's going on with publishing today? The traditional publishing has become dinosaurian. And the reality is most authors don't need a traditional publisher. All the information is out here. They're not really that author friendly. Here's what they do. They may offer you a little money. You got a little bit better odds of being picked up by a publisher than winning the lottery, if I can be that blunt. And that's very small, get picked up by a traditional publisher. And let's be, so what do you need a publisher for? When is the last time, my question for you, when is the last time you went to a bookstore and you saw a book and you say, oh, here is another fine book published by Random House? Not even. You're looking for books that solve a problem or entertain. You want them to be professionally presented. You want them to be edited, for God's sakes. You want them to be designed in a format that is easy on your eyeballs and understands, your cognitive ways that you want to learn and appeal to you. And the last thing that you care about is who publishes it. If you don't even think about it, does it solve my problem? Publishers today, traditional, they've eliminated the reversion of rights clause, which basically says, when your book is not selling so well, we're going to give you back all the rights. Because of print-on-demand capabilities today, they can keep your book hostage and in perpetuity because they can print one copy a year. So you make sure, if you do go down that traditional route, you have a reversion of rights clause. Money's limited. I'm going to come back to that. And because self-publishing, because book coaching, all this, it's become an industry, and it is breeding publishing predators left and right. So one of the things that you need to do is do some research, and I'll come back to that. So let's just look very quickly. Here's what happens. The typical nonfiction book published by a traditional publisher, New York, is 5,000 copies. The life of the book. It's not 1 million that John Grisham does. It's not 1 million, that any of the, the fiction ones about all the teen stuff, whether it's vampires or dystopian societies. It's not those. It's the typical book that most of our listeners are on right now. For fiction, it's 3,500 copies. What's that mean in money? Not much. Not much. It means less than $5,000 it needs for nonfiction, and less than $3,000 for fiction. So here's just a quick summary. This would be like a hardback selling for $25, a trade paper selling for $15. If you sold 3,000 copies with a traditional publisher, here's what you net would put in your pocket: $1,800. If you decide to publish yourself, but you only want to be featured in bookstores, and bookstores sell them, you're going to make $8,600, which is better doing it yourself, but you're fronting the money. This is after you net front everything, net dollars. But then if you learn, those of you who are speaking, coaching, training, have programs, learn to do it. And my experience has said that whenever I was in front of an audience, 30 to 40% would buy something from me. Of that 30 to 40%, half of them would buy more than a something. They would buy multiples. So if you just sold a solo by your own, $33,000. And that's after all costs. Hardback, the numbers are a little bit higher. So understand numbers, and I'm a number cruncher. I come from that. The question always asked is, why do authors fail? This is just some areas I'm throwing up on the screen now. Lack of editing is always number one. A do-it-yourself cover and interior, and it looks like it screams it out. They've gotten sucked in by the publishing predators. That's the second time I have come up with that. They don't get that this is a business. They have no platform. A platform is not how many followers you have on Twitter. A platform has vision in it. It has passion in it. It has that time, energy, money commitment to it. When you bring all those together, it's the perfect storm that will carry you, and the people will start coming. All right, they are grossly horrible at pitching what their book is about and who their audience is for, and they do nil marketing. And they have the RTP factor. They rush to publish. They rush to get something out. And guaranteed, if you do that, it is riddled with errors from every area. So how to avoid being fleeced by these predators, here's what I want you to do. Let me come back to that one. That Google's your best friend. You Google the name of the person or the company you're thinking of dealing with, and then you put the words scam, con, problems, lawsuits, complaints, ripoff. Read everything. Now, Marty and I know, Gary and I know that not everyone's going to love everyone. Let's be realistic. Some things are just sometimes the wrong thing. But when you see people start saying, they scabbed me, they took me off of this, they took my money and ran, they never called me back, they blah, 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 that you start paying attention to it. It's very important. For that platform development, here's what I was talking about. When you bring all those together, one without the other fails. If you don't have a passion to support your vision, you're in deep doo-doo. If you're not committed to that vision or the passion, you're in deep doo-doo. When you bring things together, the people will start coming and finding you. And that's really a happy dance for me. So if you're interested in building your book, I'm just going to do a plug for me. Author U, Creating and Building Your Author and Book Platforms, was the Book of the Year in Publishing Writing last year through the Indie Fab Awards and awarded at the American Library Association. Get it on Amazon and study it and work through it. It's a workbook. All right, you and your book are only as good as those you hire to bring your vision. That's critical. So who's on your team? Who are your who are your village? Those are my village people that I think of. And when you're looking at this BS detector, when I was saying that for the predators, never work with anyone that you haven't done this Google search on. It's the keywords: cons, complaints, fraud, scams, problems, swindle. I didn't say swindle, but swindling, lawsuits, ripoff. Words that people, you and I, if we felt that we had been shafted, what kind of words that we would use to describe it? That's what you're doing with your Google search. All right, author smarts. Everyone's made mistakes. God knows I have. And if your book looks like it's been self-published, don't publish it. I'm going to say that up front. It's really very important. The other thing is authors don't fail. They fail when they don't learn the lessons that mistakes and previous failures reveal. It's so easy to ignore things and go to reassuring lies when the truth is sitting in front of you. And as our society runs on a lot of that. So
yeah, one of my favorite sayings, Judith, is if you want to write a book, you need to hang around people that are writing books. And that's exactly why, because you learn
Absolutely.
what they've been through and their failures and their successes and what's hot right now. It's tough to read a whole bunch of blog posts all over the place and figure out how to publish a book and do it right. And you just got to be around people that are doing it.
You need to hang out, and I mean that's why AuthorU.org was created. Is for authors who want to be successful. It's not for the hobbyist. And that people ask me, should I join a writers group? And I said, well, I don't know. It depends. To me, most writers groups are social, number one, and two, they love to write, and I think that's great, but they rarely have a goal. They rarely have a goal to get published. They just like to write. And I think that's great if that's just what you want to do. But for me, I write with always a goal in mind. It's always, for me, my writing supports my business and my vision and my passion, and it moves that forward. Otherwise, it's really kind of a waste of time.
Yeah, just a quick break in the action here for a couple of people that just joined us a couple of minutes ago. We are just a minute or two away. I remember looking through Judith's slides where she introduces this method of publishing like instantly without she published this work and didn't even create the content herself. It was free, and it took her 2 hours, she said, too. So I'm anxious to see that, and we're almost there. So stick around, right. But keep going. You're on a roll.
Okay, so here we go. Short is the new black. Short is the new black. Every girl knows she's supposed to have a little black dress. I'm telling you, y'all need something. in your black closet, which is called shorts. And that's the way people are reading. That's the way they view today. So I host a radio show called Author You, Your Guide to Book Publishing, and my guest was Mitchell Levy. And we were talking about the AHA amplifier and how to get things and shout it out in the social media and all that. And we talked about the AHA books. And my brain is, triggering, and I'm going, I can do that. I can put this sucker together. And while we were on the air in commercial break, I wrote up a quick email to the speakers, and knowing that they all wouldn't respond, but hopefully enough would. And I had in my back pocket quotes, because I had it in the Snappy, Sassy, Salty book, Wise Words for Authors and Writers. I had that in my back pocket that I could always fill in, but I needed 140 quotes, because the book I'm going to tell you about, the AHA books, this is what was created. The AHA books is a shorty book, and it's all virtual. This is an ebook, and that it's made with tweets, so it's tweeted to death. And you tweet it out. Well, I've got between my two Twitter feeds over 55,000 followers, and that I thought, okay, I can amplify it, the new hot word. And so I sent out an email during the commercial break to all my speakers at the Author You Extravaganza that's going to be held May 7th through 9th here in Denver. And I said, here's what I need. I need some fast and furious quotes, and I need them in 48 hours. That's all I did. That's where I stopped. So that I did within 2 minutes. So my clock is running, and to see who came back. And as one of my speakers said, you mean we can just make up this stuff? And I said, yes, you can. But we would have to add, I was going to go in, and then my work would come in, and I would have to add hashtags to it and get into categories. So what we did is we put together the AHA book, and what it is a social media enabled ebook. It has 140 tweet-like entries, and we told everybody who was playing if they could keep their quotes down to 120 characters, because that would allow for any other goodies I wanted to add in and retweeting capability once the link was together. It took a few hours. It takes a few hours to a few days to create. They have all the templates. You do it as a freebie. You just say, here, everyone, this is a gift to you, and send it out, and you tell them to retweet it and come back. Well, how many people responded? And this is a website, ahaamplifier.com. 8 of my speakers, including myself, responded. Marty was a big response. He gave me a bunch. I had the woman who specializes, Haley Foster, in TED Talks and Short Talks, is going to be teaching everyone at the extravaganza how to create craft and execute it. That she sent in a whole bunch, and then everyone else, the other 6 gave, between a couple and a couple gave a full 10. I asked for 10 on that, and then I came in and filled in wherever it was with quotes that I already had. So we took this all, and then I just dropped it into the kind of the template that's on the AHA site, and voila, they created the cover. That was part of the deal. They created the cover and came back, and then we had it. The total cost for doing this is $99. $99 to create an ebook with your name on it. You can go out. You could do it just with your own, pithy quotes, stuff you make up, or ahas, or, things that you want people to reveal. But you can add this. I'm a published author. Even if you don't have your other book done, you've got a lot of nuggets that you have, or maybe you've pulled from other people that you quote, and you just give them that credit, and you can put it together. So it was quite a fun exercise to see it come together and shoot it on out. And so I do want to give Marty credit for giving me a lot to help me along the way.
Well, it just goes to show that when I'm talking to people about writing books, my first published book I self-published, and I did workshops to fund the printing of the book. I didn't even have the book written. And then, Judith, you were one of those first attendees in that workshop. I mean, that was 2004, if I remember right. And I didn't even have the book done. And Judith, a week later, she already paid for the book. And then she was like, Marty, when's the book going to be out? I didn't even have it printed yet. So that was my introduction to publishing. And then, of course, by hanging out with Judith, I learned how to do it the right way, and finally got into a Dummies book. And the only way I could find time to get the chapters written was for them to assign deadlines, and their deadline was Monday at noon, and I'd stay up every Sunday night for 8 weeks straight. Every Sunday night, I stayed up all night long writing one chapter at a time. I had 8 chapters in that book, and that's the only way I could do it. So you find a way to do it. You find a way to get the book written, and it can be either a really, really involved process that takes a number of months to happen, or there are options of doing something as simple as an aha book. So that's really the point of introducing this is that I want to get people over this idea that writing a book has to take 4 years to complete, and that it takes so much time. There are easier ways.
Marty, if they take 4 years, their book will be obsolete. And short is the new black. And I know we have some questions with people, and we're going to open it up to questions in just a couple of minutes. And I will stay on as long as we need to answer all your questions. But I think what's important is that I heard the idea. I thought I can do this. I'll take it and run. I've got enough material of my own. I could have done the whole thing because I tweet a lot, so I have stuff all over Timbuktu. But if you have, look at your own things of what you can see to complement what you're doing, and then you bring it together. Well, here's what we're going to do with the extravaganza here in 3 weeks. We are actually creating a book that weekend. People, all our attendees, they're going to, if they hear a speaker say something, holy moly, I need to remember this, they're going to write it down. Mitchell will be there, turn into Mitchell. They are going to be setting up, designing live and publishing why we are there. Now, how cool is that? I think it's pretty cool. Right, so here's, making it so we're going to have the library that's all coming along, which makes it a lot of fun. Now, at the same time, I have to tell everyone, here's another short book. While this was going on, I had written an article on crowdfunding. I have several of my authors. I have helped craft their campaigns and supported them and put them together. And I wrote a chapter in a book that's coming out in May. And, it was like, duh, Judith, why aren't you creating the guide yourself? So, short is the new black. This book is 5 by 7. From title page to the last page, it's 96 pages. It was totally created, laid out, and designed in 2 weeks. We will be putting up on my personal website, thebookshepherd.com, which I'm putting up a new banner, but it's going to be the freebie, and I'm going to be giving the entire timelines of if you're going to do a crowdfunding campaign with getting free money to finance your book, if you're going to be putting it together, that there's some timelines you need to think about. Now, ideally, it's something you don't say, oh yeah, I'm going to do a crowdfunding program. Starting tomorrow. You know what? You're probably going to flop. But there are some things, if you really have some time to think about it, I go as much as a year out, 3 months to a year out, from 1 month to 3 months out, from zero launch day to do during your campaign period, as well as after the campaign period. So that's the freebie giveaway, and it'll be up on my website, thebookshepherd.com, here in a few days. But the book can already be ordered. Now, what I want you to look at here is the reason why I could do it so fast is I did repurposing. Those sheepy guys, as they're known, have already appeared in 2 books. We just, now they have berets on. Now they're throwing money in the air. They have personalities that we let to play with. And if you look at some of the interior, we've got one hanging around a question. The village scene, where that's my acknowledgments page, that came from my Author You book. If you feel overwhelmed, we took the sheepy guys. They're crying about how you deal with these money crunches. When I'm talking about social media, now they're doing links together. Now we got him reading to other people in the crowd. Repurposing is so much fun once you have an illustration or a character or something. They can, if you're doing training or coaching, people like humor. They like to be amused. Whimsy, never underestimate whimsy, even in serious topics, all that. And this book is going to have color throughout. As there's a variety of things. So it makes it fun. It's short. It's 5 by 7. I can slip it in my pocket. I know it's not going to keep me up all night. Well, it may be with some of the ideas that I give you, but I'm going to put you through the whole spiel of how to do this, the cost, the taxes, the timelines, what essentials you need, who are the key players you should be working with, how you deal with all the god-awful overwhelm, because it is intense, how to get help. So as I come in here to a close, success always comes from the law of Goya. That's get off your ass. You gotta say, okay, what is my point I'm going for, and then you have to start working for it. And my personal keeper here is don't do well what you have no business doing. Hire out, get help. Marty sat across from me 3 years ago, and we were talking about social media, and he was saying, Judith, you have to do this and you have to do that. And I said to Marty, no frickin' way am I going to do this. Do you remember that, Marty?
You're saying that very politely. It was a lot more assertive than that.
Yeah, I didn't say frickin', but that is what the intent was. And oh my God, here I have one Twitter stream with 32,000. I have another one with 24,000. I have a LinkedIn group with almost 10,000 people in it called Author U. Join it. I mean, I'm all over the place. What can I say? But
well, you have to do it all. I mean, that's really the answer. Because if you're not doing it all, your competition is.
Or that's right. Or you get help. Right. So, and that's really important to say. I have a full-time virtual assistant that works for me. I have to get help. I have to get help. So one of the things I want to invite you all to, if you want to be seriously successful, it's only if you want to be seriously successful, if you want to come hang out with authors and writers, with people who are doing it, if you want to, talk with Marty, you want to talk with Gary, if you want to meet with John Kramer, really the guru, 1001 Ways to Market Your Books, if you want to hang out with Daniel Hall, who knows more about product development and spin-offs and doing webinars and how to hustle that out, he is the person. If you want to learn how to do a short talk, a TED Talk, Haley Foster will do it. If you want to do a deep dive dinner, the deep dive dinner workshop and learn about findability and how to get that SEO optimization and using the tools that Cloud360 offers, you want to listen to Heather Lussey. There is so much we have there. Just go to authoru.org, click on the events tab, and it'll all lay out. And here's my special goodie for all of you. If you really want to come, you need to call me. And my last slide, we're going to leave that up while we take questions, so the number will be there. But I'll bring you in on the Early Bird Author U member rate. That will save right now $150. I'm going to give you the code AU2015. That will whack off another $100. We feed your belly and your brain. So come to the extravaganza. It's May 7th through 9th. It's in Denver. I don't care where you live. I just had someone book from Memphis yesterday for under $200. I had someone book from Austin, Texas yesterday, $138 round trip, Denver. So
that's great.
I'm speaking in Las Vegas, Gary, next week, and it cost me $460 round trip.
Gary, are you still? I'm sure you muted your line, but are you still with us?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm listening attentively to the whole thing. I was just laughing at
great.
the airline flights. It's crazy how those things work.
It's
yeah,
great.
I just want to throw it out there too that Gary's going to be here live in person. This event is in Denver, Colorado, and that's where I am too. We woke up to snow on the ground this morning, of all things. But yeah, a very rare opportunity to hang out with Gary for a full 3 days. We're both going to be there. We're speaking on the first day. We're going to be showing a lot of CloudNet360 tips and tricks, and we can just show you really live on the spot. So existing CloudNet360 users, that's a great opportunity to hang out with us for a while. So right. I'd really like to get to some of these questions. Judith, do you have any other comments to close this out before I open the questions here?
No, Gary, Marty didn't think I could get through all my slides, and I did. So,
You did, yeah. We always have the goal with these product jams of 45 minutes, and we figure we spend 30 minutes on whatever item we're going over, whatever feature we're going over, and then we have 15 minutes of questions, and you're right on the spot here, so good job. I'm just going to kind of kick it off, and Gary, you probably have some questions too, but I just want to, I'm just kind of going down a list of what came in here. The first one is, how soon before a book is published can I start promoting it?
It's a great question, and here's my answer. You start promoting before it's even published. And if you miss that window, so you got it in hand, you start tap dancing right now. And I don't know what the book is about, and I could make some really specific suggestions if I knew a little bit more about the book. But you start promoting. I start promoting a good 6 months in front of a book. I let people know whether it's on a blog. You could talk about it, the evolution. You should have on your signature of your email that you're the author of. Get your book cover. I think it's important if you can get that book cover as soon as possible, so you start pushing it out so people can visually see it and know it's coming. And offer a pre-publication deal. I always did pre-publication deals for my books. I never discounted the price. If the price was going to be $20, it was $20, but it included shipping and handling. And so, in effect, they get a 25 to 30% discount when you do it that way. But that helps you, number one, start gathering money, and that it also starts the buzz. And you want to figure out that where you are is how are you going to start your shouting out and connecting and let people know about it and move it. But the answer is start promoting as soon as you can.
Yeah, I remember when my first Web Marketing All-in-One for Dummies book we were just starting to write it. It was actually 8 months before it was going to be on the shelves, and I started. I did a lot of quotes. I was always doing work for people, and they'd say, "Well, I need this to be done," and so I'd reply with a quote, and then all this conversation by email would happen back and forth, and we'd have emails and emails and emails, and eventually we'd have to get on a phone. And an interesting thing happened when I added my signature line that I think it was something like, look for Web Marketing All-in-One for Dummies coming out on store shelves everywhere in July 2012 or whenever it was. All of a sudden, those 7 or 8 emails going back and forth turned into one back and forth. That was it. I mean, it's a huge credibility builder when you even put on your email that you have a book coming. So start using that right as soon as you start writing, for sure.
And let me just also say, for those of you who don't have a book out but you're in the process of it, that I would do that shout out, and don't say it's going to be available September 1st. That's a kiss of death. What you do is you say fall 2015. Because fall 2015 will give you from September 20th to December 20th. Remember.
Good point. Even better. Awesome.
Yeah, go by
let me get. Yeah, here's one that I'm curious of too. I always have trouble with titles, and somebody asked, how does someone come up with a book title when all the book titles, all the good book titles are already taken?
Oh, so you want to be snappy, sassy, salty, and you know what? All the book titles aren't taken. And you also need to know no one is going to own a book title that's not copyrighted. You'll see a lot of books with the same title. It'll be probably the subtitle or the content that's going to separate what they are. Here's one of the things that I would do. I would take whatever my working book title is, and this is going to help you with cover design as well. And I go into Amazon, and I just slap that in and see what books come up with that title, so you know it's there. And you want to see that if you have a New York, what I like about New York publishers is they do put money into their covers, and that's what you're competing with, even if you don't intend to be in a bookstore, that you want to have your cover have the essence of a New York type book. So I go into, one of my secret weapons I use is a website called aminstitute.com. That's Apple Mary, aminstitute.com. And it's created by the American Marketing Association. And you want to go to click on where it says Headline Analyzer. And very quickly you can play around with the emotional the intellectual, the spiritual side, and see what kind of percentage you get. I would be playing around with your title to get at least a 40% score. Most copywriters are happy with a 30 to 40. I would like to get it up higher for that, so there's a little bit more twing to it. There is also, if you go to the TweakBiz website, that you can put in like your topic area, and that Tweak, TweakBiz, and you play around with that website, and it'll come up with a variety of titles for workshops, by the way, also articles, blogs. Some are snarky. It'll have a snarky division. Some, there'll be different divisions, and you will be able to come up with it, and you will get ideas from there. For titles, you want to keep it, I would suggest, 8 syllables or less. Your main title, your subtitle could be more descriptive. If you look at the New York Times bestsellers, they all are going to be shorties, but it's got to have that main, your main keyword in there, so people know what they're looking for. Don't make them work hard here. Don't make them work hard with here. When I had my book called The Confidence Factor back in the 80s, I actually had a headline person who specialized in headlines pull it out. And I think other places that I would be looking for ideas to goose me, never undersell Cosmopolitan magazine. Never undersell the National Enquirer. Those people who write those headlines get big bucks because they're going for that emotional, that spiritual, that intellectual. I don't think intellectual for Cosmopolitan or the National Enquirer, but that they're looking for that pull that will suck people in instantly. It's very important. So hopefully that answers. I mean, since I can't talk to who.
Yeah. We have. I'd say that's a half-day class. You could spend a whole half day just talking about headlines and putting them together and things like that. We're really at the end of the time, and Gary, I'm going to have you come in to close this out, but I want to ask one more question here because there are about 4 more here that I'm not going to be able to get to. And I know Judith personally. You can send her an email. She's right on the screen, Judith@briles.com. Send her an email. She'll answer it, and she'll answer it very quickly for you. So don't feel left out if I'm not getting to your question. But I really need to ask this one, and it's really hard to ask this knowing that it has a big response. It's going to take a while to respond to it, but I got to get it in. You said early in the presentation here that one book might spawn others.
Oh, yes.
What does that mean?
They breed ideas. My very first book was back in 1981. It was called The Woman's Guide to Financial Savvy. I just was getting out a workshop I gave, and it did very well. All of a sudden, other publishers were coming after me to do other books, and then they started just multiplying. And you have another idea that this would be a good book for them if you're out speaking, consulting, coaching, anything like that. If you've got a product, your customers are interested in seeing what it is. I mean, look what Bill Marriott did with his book that he puts in every drawer in every bedroom in a hotel. That people want to take you home and what your ideas are, because short is the new black. You're able to put it together quicker. You have resources that are available to you that even get your books very quickly. We didn't get into alternative sources. We can do another webinar on that, Marty. But I can show you how you can get your book available for European purchases within 5 days. So you've got that market, and so you just need to be open. They do breed other books that you have one idea, all of a sudden you're off and running, or you're interacting with people and you're thinking, God, that's a problem. It needs a solution. I've got the skill set. I can supply it. Or for our fiction writers, those of you who got that gift to spawn an idea that, I'm always in just awe of fiction authors, that they come up with some of the craziest ideas and then they can take it and run with it. I work with them with their books. I can make the writing better and I can add to the ideas, but the creativity of that first seed, I'm always in awe of.
Mm-hmm. I actually have to ask this last one too, because you just said that. This question came in, somebody asking about the extravaganza, wondering if it's, let me get this right, is the extravaganza only for fiction authors?
Oh, no. Oh, no. It's for authors. It's for people who want to be successful authors, period.
Okay, good. All right, well, those are all the questions we have time to go into. And Gary, I'm going to bring you back to close it out. And this is, again, continuing our series that started last August of what we call product jams. And we had one that was called the traffic jams. We talked about getting traffic to a website. So occasionally we deviate from just having product features of CloudNet 360, but that's what we do like to hover around. And today we called this a book jam. So all about
Absolutely.
writing books and book authoring. So Gary, take it away.
Well, I just want to thank Judith for showing up. We do have a lot of authors. We have a lot of aspiring authors, and certainly a big part of our system is dedicated to helping people sell their books. As ebooks is one avenue of moving their metal, right? So it's a very on-point topic. And again, thank you, Judith, for showing up. Your expertise in this area is certainly something that very few people have, and we appreciate you taking the time today.
It's my pleasure to be with you. Hope to see everybody at the extravaganza.
All right, thanks again, and thank you everyone who showed up, and we shall see you on the next jam session. Bye now.